Good evening, welcome to the Buck Stops here. I'm Vishnu Shob. On the program tonight, as the government ends the exchange of 500 and 1000 rupee notes, except at the Reserve Bank of India, we look at the cash ban and what it means in rural India. Remember, 47% of India's population does not have a bank account. Where do these people go? And if the answer is to open a bank account, is it all that easy to do? Meanwhile, in Parliament, the war of words between the Prime Minister and the opposition continues, with Mr. Modi saying critics say the government was unprepared, but the real issue here is that the government didn't give anyone time to prepare. In other words, suggesting that people needed time to sort out what to do with their black money. The opposition rejects these statements by the Prime Minister. 47% of people in this country don't have a bank account. Cash exchange is all but over now. What happens in rural areas and to people who haven't a clue about how to set up a bank account or how it works?
"18-year-old Rinku Yadav, who works as a security guard in Haryana's Pachgaon village, got his salary yesterday old notes. Being the oldest breadwinner in the family, he is worried now.
अभी तक जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ी बैंक अकाउंट खुलवाने की। जो काम था वो नगद में ही चलता रहता था, इसलिए बैंक अकाउंट नहीं है मेरा। मुझे नहीं मालूम कैसे खुलेगा अकाउंट, मैं खुलवाया ही नहीं अभी तक, तो मुझे पता नहीं है।
Across Langda and Pachgaon in Haryana, those without bank accounts and with little income and savings find themselves hard-pressed.
कुछ दिन के लिए या तो एक्सटेंड करना चाहिए थे इस चीज़ को, एक्सटेंड करने के सिस्टम को, या पहले अर्ली उसके बारे में बताना चाहिए था। तो हम चाहते हैं किसी को ऐसे गरीब का 1000-2000 रुपए तो एक्सटेंड हम अपने लेवल पे कर देते हैं उनका डेली यूजेज के हेल्प करने के लिए।
Local bank officials tell us they have got a few requests to open accounts in the last 2 weeks, but not enough.
Today we have received, I think around 5 accounts we have received for opening. We have told for the KYC documents. Once it is received, we will be opening the accounts.
On the basis of a visit to 3 villages in Haryana, we can see that even though 1 out of 3 banks got requests to open new bank accounts, the people at large feel that this was rather harsh as they were arm twisted in doing so.
About 90 kilometers away in Delhi's Nizamuddin, the response is mixed. 42-year-old Shamim, a cook, has been living in Delhi for over 20 years. He is now worried about his savings in the absence of a bank account. Despite an Aadhaar card, he says he has been unsuccessful so far.
आपने खाता खोलने की कोशिश की थी यहाँ?
एक बार कोशिश, मगर बैंक वाले ने दिया नहीं कि ये ले आओ वो ले आओ, इससे हमारे परेशानी हुआ, इसलिए हमने खाता नहीं खोला।
But for Faizan, a young resident of the same basti, the cash ban has become an occasion to open a bank account.
छोटी मोटी सेविंग के लिए हमारे लिए बहुत समस्या है कि हमें लगता नहीं कि जल्दी हमारा अकाउंट खुल पाएगा। बैंक में बहुत लंबी लंबी लाइनें हैं, तो हमारे लिए बहुत दिक्कतों का सामना करना पड़ रहा है।
The realities of demonetization and financial inclusion not easy to correlate. While at one end in Haryana, people feeling compulsed to open bank accounts, at the other end in Delhi, those willing to open bank accounts faced with multiple misapprehensions. With Aishwarya Iyer in Delhi, this is Nikhil Pandhi for NDTV.
Well, this story is taking place at 2 levels. In Parliament, where there is a war of words between the Prime Minister and the opposition, and as you saw over there, in rural parts of the country, even in urban parts of the country, where people just don't know what to do next. Joining us now to debate this, GVL Narasimha Rao of the BJP, with me in the studio, Mr. Tom Varakan of the Congress, and Biraj Patnaik, an activist and an analyst in this particular case. I'd like to thank all of you very much for joining us. Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao, let me come to you first. The exchange of money no longer permitted other than at a handful of RBI sites. What about the 47% of people in this country who don't have bank accounts? Where do they actually go in the future, assuming that they can't get to one of these RBI locations?
No, Vishnu, I don't know where you get your numbers from.
The World Bank report 2015.
Spurious. No, but I'm quoting from now census 2011 data. I think there can be nothing, there can be no source which is more accurate or exhaustive than population census conducted in this country.
So the World Bank data you're saying is wrong? 2015 World Bank, so that's my source.
Wrong. It is certainly.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. 2011 census, I would consider that to be far more authentic. And that put the number of people having bank accounts or accessing banking services even is at about 59-60%. And this was in 2011. And now we have had a massively successful financial inclusion program which was rolled out in 2014 and 15. And we have added nearly 25 million, 250 million, 25 crore Jan Dhan accounts. So certainly the number that you quote is certainly not a reliable number. The actual
so what is the number that you have in percentage terms?
Do not use. I think it will not be less than 80% of the households in this country.
80% of the households in this country have bank accounts. Viraj?
Yes. Yes, I think if I put the 2011 numbers, then you add the new accounts that have been opened.
These numbers are dramatically different from what the World Bank has, but he's gone on record, has Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao, saying 80%.
No, I think he'll regret the figure because 80% don't have. 80% in this country don't have now.
No, 2011 census, I can show you the data.
There are, in 2015, the RBI data. Now, of course, the RBI will have more reliable data than the BJP spokesperson.
No, but he's relying on the census, and that is a reliable source.
233 million Indians did not have bank accounts. Now, let us assume that they have added another 65 million. So, you still have 40 million households in this country. 40 million households in this country don't have a bank account, and that would be the most reliable estimate. And if this was a country, I mean, I read a wonderful news report which has actually compared the population and says that India's unbanked would be the 7th largest country in the world. You know, and that is the reality. So, and let's not quibble about the numbers, whether it's 40 million households not having an account or 33 million households not having an account. The reality is that a large number of Indians don't have accounts. The reality is that the government's own data shows that
I'll come to you, Mr. Rao. Just
94% of Indians are in the cash economy by virtue of being in the unorganized sector. Only 6% of Indians have organized sector jobs. Now, what that means is 94% of Indians who are dealing continuously in the cash economy, because the informal economy is not the black
lots of
economy,
points there, but you've
it's a
raised some
cash
specific
economy.
points on those numbers. I'll come across Mr. Varakan in a moment, but Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao, do you want to respond specifically to what Viraj has said?
No, I think what he said, he's only validated what I have said. In fact, he says 40 million, which is 4 crore households. In this country, we have about 35-40 crore households nationally, and 4 crore accounts for hardly about 10% of that. If he's saying 10%, 12%, 15% don't have accounts, I would not quibble at all.
But
I think it's in line
that
with what I am stating. The reality is
that every single Jan Dhan account is not a duplicate, that it's the first time account.
But you know, there's an interesting point that Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao said. He said that 80% of all households have an account. The statistic which I was quoting earlier on is that 47% of people who are eligible to have accounts don't have accounts. So I'm looking at individuals, he's looking at households. So the numbers could actually be closer. The numbers could be closer. So this is an important point. This is an important point because let's be realistic, individual doesn't necessarily have to have a household, a bank account if a household has one, and a household is the functional unit in most cases.
See, I've always believed what Winston Churchill once said: lies, damn lies, and statistics. This is an apt case where you have a situation where the government is quoting the 2011 census, and then you quoted the World Bank, and there is a truth between it. And the truth is, 70 people are dead, and we are counting. Rural India is the most affected region. Your cooperative banks have all been non-functional. They are rushing money, according to the Commerce Minister today. We heard that money is being rushed. I don't know what source. ATMs are not working in the city. You forget about reaching out money. Please tell the country, tell Parliament at least, how much money have you printed? How much of currency is on road? If you do not tell them, there is something you are hiding.
That's a fair question, Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao. When will the cash get back into the system across the board?
Vishnu, I think in the very first week, 10 days, you have seen how more than 1.5 lakh crores was disbursed from banks. and nearly 7-8 lakh crores of currency was available or was printed as of November 15. So by end of December, I think most of the money that was in circulation earlier, that would be available in the form of a cash, availability. So these scaremongering by the likes of Chidambaram and the Congress party have been peddling a lot of lies. I think reality is the cash will be back in almost equal quantity within the next 1.5-2 months. So that's really not a long time.
Okay, Biraj
so I
wanted
think
to come
this
in. Yes.
activity has begun well in advance.
Okay, Biraj,
See,
go ahead.
I think the point here is that if the numbers are so clear, the Prime Minister said 50 days, but it doesn't look like 50 days. Now he has quoted a figure which we accept, that 1 lakh plus crores was done in the first fortnight, but that's 10% of the cash you've taken away. You still have 90% of the cash to do. And the question, Vishnu, is not of printing the notes. The question is of reaching the notes. How will you reach it to the villages? Now, out of the 2,20,000 ATMs, you have only done half the ATM recalibration. And remember, ATMs serve the vast majority of the urban population. What happens to the poor? Where does the farmer bank? The farmer banks in a cooperative bank. What, can a farmer go to a cooperative bank and exchange money? No. Number two, Vishnu, I want to say, what worries me is that, when you take a measure of this nature, you should have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, and so on. But here, even on plan A, you have a daily flip-flop. Now, Prime Minister in his speech says, and RBI in its FAQ say that till December 30th, you can exchange 500,000 rupee notes. Now you've rolled back.
Yes.
So, when are we going to see consistency?
Okay, Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao, you want to make a point?
One more question.
Yeah, go ahead,
Mr.
Mr. Varakar.
There are about 1,000 ATMs across the country.
I'll let you answer, Mr. Rao, at length. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Varakar.
There are 1,000 ATMs across the country in rural area. Please tell me how much of cash is coming there and how many are capable of those who don't even have bank accounts. I mean, I just was watching on national television, somebody has sold his cow and sheep and what have you. He's got about 2 lakhs and he's scared. He did it 2 days before the popular speech of the Prime Minister. And poor man doesn't know whether to deposit it in the bank. His money is just paper like the Prime Minister.
No, so
the rural India is a totally different picture, Vishnu.
Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao, let's face it, we don't have a fix on the numbers, but there are stories after stories by journalists across the board, every part of the country, of laborers, of migrants going back to their homes where they may have a bank account, of people not knowing how to set up bank accounts, of people not knowing how to use ATMs. I'm sure those can't be discounted either, and surely the numbers of those would still be very, very substantial, enough to scare anybody, certainly the government.
No, Vishnu, it's for a few days, certainly there is inconvenience, but I think our friends who have been talking about cooperative banks, you can't be selective with the truth. I think cooperative banks, 21,000 crores of money has been released or is being given by, has been sanctioned, authorized by the RBI on the recommendation of the NABARD. This money is going into the cooperative banks for dispersal to farmers. Farmers have been allowed to buy seeds with the existing, with the cash they had. They were allowed to withdraw money based on a sale of the harvested crop. They have also been allowed to withdraw against the loans that have been sanctioned. And there are nearly 1.25 lakh banking correspondents who are reaching out to the villages to disburse cash through
micro ATMs. But as I understand it, sir, farmers can use old 500 rupee notes to buy rabi seeds. But there is no relief for buying fertilizers, pesticides and cattle feed.
Exactly.
No, but there are, at every level, attempt has been made to ensure that our farmers do not suffer. Fertilizer companies have been asked to provide fertilizers where it's necessary on loan to the farmers, and there are going to be inconveniences. But when you do something historic, something major on this scale, you cannot have completely without any minor disruption. But look at the amount of good it will do to the economy.
But
and
sir,
the Congress party,
I'm
which
sure
has
the
really
BJP doesn't believe
years
it's a minor disruption, sir.
It's a
I'm sure
it is a minor disruption.
It's a very significant
it is a temporary disruption.
Okay. 70 people dead and you call it minor.
Temporary
you
disruption.
Call it minor pain.
And you
call it minor pain.
But thousands of people got killed because of your Your economic
Why
policies,
doesn't your
thousands
Prime
of
Minister
people
go
died
and
because of terrorism.
Our Prime Minister go and
Thousands,
send out a message.
thousands of
that
people
yes,
died because
these
of the
people have
scams that you
died.
carried
Why
out
don't
in
you
this
register
country,
that? This
and
is
you
not
never
Congress
even
Party making
ensured
it up.
people have
This
a bank
is the
account.
national newspapers media
It's your
account.
I think you are
70
condemning
people
yourself.
dead and you don't even have an apology for
It's
that.
a
You talk
it's a
about your
condemnation
nationalism,
of the
Mr. Rao.
Congress
What
party.
kind of nationalism are you talking about?
It's a
People of India are dying.
Okay.
It's a condemnation of the
Mr. Rao,
Congress
make your
party.
point,
You
yes.
only cheated people for 70 years.
And you're killing
You
people.
have not even
I'm sorry
allowed
to
people
say.
to
No,
open
let's
bank
not,
accounts.
let's keep it civil over
Now
here.
have some shame, man.
Shame what for?
Have some
You
shame.
have taken snatched
For 70
people's
years.
money from the
For
bank.
70
And
years.
you
One
ask
minute,
about
1 minute.
not
This
shame.
is going completely out of control.
This is outrage.
Mr. Vadakan,
No,
Mr.
for
Vadakan,
70
you made
years
your point.
you have not given banking access to the people of the country.
Okay,
you
all
have
right.
given
Mr.
banking access
Vadakan
for
and
70
GVL
years.
Narasimha Rao,
It's a shame on
I'm
you.
out of time on this debate.
Shame on the
I want to go
Congress
back to
party.
Biraj. I want to go back to Biraj. Very quickly make your point.
I think you should
I would say
apologize
very
to the
quickly,
people.
the problem is that this is a government that has a great aversion to facts. I don't want to get into this Congress versus BJP business because they will keep fighting. The reality is that 94% of this country's economy it's not a minor disruption. Inconvenience is a very cute word, but when you destroy a livelihood, the migrant worker, the smallholder who's going back is not going to have his economy recover in 50 days or 3 months or 4 months.
Well, let's see what happens in the days and weeks and
But do
months
you want
ahead.
to sustain a corrupt economy?
But you
Do
are
you want
getting
to
only
sustain parallel
6%.
economy?
You are getting
Are you
only
speaking for this?
6%. 6%.
Are you speaking for a-
just
are you
6%
speaking up for a
of
corrupt
black
economy?
money in this country.
Do you think
only
there is no need to bring in
6% of black
transparency
money in this
in our
country
economic
is
system?
held in cash.
You're making
according
people
to
All right. We are not going to.
Office and
We are
You're
not going to get
That's
personal
the
over
case.
here. We are not going to get personal over here. Let's just hope one way or the other the problems that exist on the ground can be sorted out, and the goals which I think everybody agrees with. It's the mannerism which people are questioning. The goals can be
Execution of
achieved one way or the other. I'd like to thank all of you very much for joining us.